put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, Tobago, and welcome this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. It is a beautiful, beautiful Thursday morning. We're coming to you live from the third floor, Portmore, Lower Scarborough, Tobago. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Viewers, this morning, I am Rhea Richardson George, and like we said, it is the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Now, viewers, all week long, we've been focused on women. This is Women's Week. Most of you would have recalled that yesterday, the 8th of March, was International Women's Day. And so all week long, women hosts, all week long, women guests. Well, my co-host this morning is none other than Khadijah Ali Samul Harris. We've got to put in all those names. Khadijah, good morning.
Good morning, Rhea. How are you?
I am doing very well. It's good to have you on set with us today.
Thank you.
Give Tobago a little background on who Khadijah is before we get into the meat of things.
All right. So Khadijah is the CEO of Pro Clean Limited. She's also a mother, friend, yes, sister,
wife,
and wife recently. Yes. So she's also the CEO of Tower of Power Movement, that's my non-profit organization, and International Academy, which is J. Cash Leadership and Learning Academy, that's based in Atlanta.
All right.
Yes.
So you wear so many different hats.
Yes, ma'am.
What would be your message for women the world over for International Women's Day?
Do not give up on your dreams. If you're passionate about something, keep it at the front of your burner. Don't ever give up on that. Yes.
Yeah. Drive.
Yes, the drive and the passion has to be there.
That's right. Well, viewers, before we head on into things, we're going to head on over to Candace for the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Rhea and Khadijah. I am Candace Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, 9th March 2023. Police are investigating the discovery of a body along Colon Grove Road in Canaan yesterday. According to police reports, a man was walking along the road when he noticed a body among some bushes. The police were called and the body was taken to the mortuary at the Scarborough General Hospital. The body was that of a man of East Indian descent and bore marks of violence. Police are seeking the public's assistance in identifying the body. Meanwhile, the Scrap Iron Dealers Association complained that Tobago dealers do not have access to a scrapyard and are disadvantaged under the new legislation. The association's executive visited Tobago yesterday. According to President Alan Ferguson, under the new legislation, scrap metals can only be stored at yards with special licenses, not on private property. However, there are no licensed yards in Tobago, and Ferguson is urging the government to reconsider the legislation. He also requested that the THA meet with the scrap iron dealers to consider providing them with property for storage to be shared among Tobago's collectors. And nationally, a policy to address intimate partner violence was launched by the Ministry of Health on International Women's Day. The policy was created with the help of PAHO and WHO as part of the Spotlight Initiative. The National Clinical and Policy Guidelines on Intimate Partner Violence and Sexual Violence in Trinidad and Tobago aim to eliminate violence against women and girls. Minister of Health Terence Dial Singh stated the guidelines are intended to improve TNT's healthcare providers' ability to respond holistically to survivors' physical, mental, and social needs, as well as to ensure follow-up care. And that was your news in 90 seconds. It is back to you, Rhea and Khadijah.
Thank you so much there, Candace. Thank you so much. All right, well, Khadijah, a lot happening on the program today. We're going to get into that in just a little bit. But just to remind our viewers this morning that the theme for 2023 for International Women's Day is Embrace Equity. Embrace Equity. And that's the theme for 2023.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to head on over into our birthday segment. We've got a few birthdays coming up there. Let's shout those persons out. Thank God for life, we say this morning. And we start things off this morning by celebrating William Nurse. William Nurse, who happens to be the father of one of our youth hosts here on Tobago Updates, Dwayne Nurse, celebrating her birthday. So love going out to you this morning from the entire Tobago Updates team. Good morning. Happy birthday going out to you, William Nurse.
Next, we have a father and son. It's a father and son who share birthday celebrations. Kevin, who's the dad, and Justin, his son, Julian of Plymouth, Tobago. This greeting is coming from Claire, your mom and your granny, and Renee, your sister and aunt.
All right, and then we've got this lovely lady here, and I've known this lady for a long time. And this is Nisma Dennis, celebrating her birthday. So Nisma Dennis, love going out to you this morning from Kimmery and all those Bishopians. Happy birthday going out to you this morning. Trust that you have a really great one today.
Okay, so happy birthday to JDL Walters.
Yeah, I love going out to you. Love going out to you this morning. And this is an interesting one. So this is birthday greetings going out to Marcella Marfan. And interesting enough, there's another pic because she's one of a twin. And the interesting thing is that one was born on one day and the other was born the other day. So it was very close to midnight. So Marcella was born, and then her twin sister celebrated. Okay, I got it. Marina was born first, yes, and then the other sister was born after midnight. So it is one day and the other one after midnight. So Marcella and Marina Marfan celebrating their birthdays. Happy birthdays going out to you guys. Trust that you have a great one. And I'm wondering if I just simply saw one and thought, two of them and thought it was the same one. I didn't realize it was a twin, but twin, you know, yeah.
That happens.
We found out that I was how old, you know, when I found out that they were twin today. Right. All right, so all right, so let's tell our viewers here what's coming up on the program this morning. And again, it is focused all week long on women, empowering women, women's health, women's everything, Khadijah. Yeah. So we start up this morning letting them know what's coming up first on the program. This morning, like I said, it's Women's Week. It is Women's Week here being celebrated on Tobago Updates. And so this morning, we're going to start things off by chatting with Karen Moore Nicholson, who's the Director of Nursing attached to the Tobago Regional Health Authority. And this morning, our focus is on women's health, the importance of regular checkups, menopause, and what to expect. If you think you're not there, you're there. Yes, going through menopause, if you think you're not there. All right, so what else is coming up on the program?
So we'll have Marissa Morris, who is a civil engineer and managing director of Sustainable Advanced Solutions and Services Limited. And we'll focus on the topic, digital innovation and technology for gender equality.
All right, and this is all keeping in train with the theme for 2023 for International Women's Day. And then we're going to wrap things up this morning by chatting with Dr. Janelle Chase Mayers, who is the CEO of Re-Engineering Wellbeing Consultancy. And we're going to chat with her. She's going to talk to us more about Way 4 training seminar. So that's what's coming up on the program this morning. So like I said, viewers, it's an interesting morning, an exciting morning. And Khadijah, we're excited to have you on the program with us.
Thank you so much.
All right. So we're not winging it, viewers. We've got great things in store, okay? And you're going to be seeing a lot more of Khadijah a little bit later on in the program. But before we head on over, we've got Tobago in Focus, and then we go on.
Right.
Hopefully you've had your share of iguana, agouti and tattoo this season, as the hunting season is officially closed. Game Warden 1, Llewellyn Craig Roberts and Jester Allman reminded the public to return their permits and make the necessary preparations to comply.
What is expected as the hunting season is closed is that hunters who've been hunting during the open season had a permit to hunt is to return the permit as soon as possible, or the 31st of May of this year. Also, that they are not to hunt as the season is already closed.
Weapons and dogs must cease to be used immediately, as there is a hefty fine attached to those infractions.
Well, the fine is normally $100,000 for anyone caught hunting in the close season, or they could have up to 6 months imprisonment. And anyone also caught with meat, because as it is now, for the month of March, those hunters could have their meat, right, until the end of March. They have a whole month to dispose of their meat, whether by eating, selling, whatever.
After March 31st, if anyone is caught in possession of any wild meat, they can be charged or face up to 6 months imprisonment. Persons have been caught and taken to court in the past. The Department of Natural Resources and Fisheries urges persons to obey the hunting laws, as those animals need time to repopulate and grow. If necessary, reports can be made to Mr. Allman at 348-6511. Permits are to be returned in the office at Chauvin Road.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Live more.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Viewers, welcome back, and that is a lovely outdoor shot of Lower Scarborough, Tobago. Oh, isn't Tobago beautiful? And this shot is courtesy Port Mall. It's sponsored by the Port Mall, where we're coming to you live from. Beautiful shot, beautiful. What a wake up sight this morning. Well, viewers, we are chatting this morning, as we mentioned, International Women's Day, women hosts, women guests on the program, some really inspiring women as well. So we're chatting this morning with Karen Moore Nicholson, who's the Director of Nursing for the Tobago Regional Health Authority. And this morning the focus is on women's health, the importance of regular checkups. Good morning and welcome to you, Mrs. Moore Nicholson.
Good morning, Ria, and thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. And I have to say international, happy International Women's Day to you.
Thank you, and may I extend the same to you.
Thank you, darling. Thank you so much. All right, now we're getting into things. We're getting right into things. And I have to say here, even before we start, congratulations to you on your recent appointment. It is well deserved. We are proud of you, and we trust that you do well.
Thank you very much, and I do hope you all pray for us so that we can do well. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. All right, so we're talking women's health this morning. Now, your background is in nursing.
Yes, it is.
And so you would have seen some things over the years to have qualified you even more so for the position that you now hold. Talk to us this morning about, in terms of women, what is it that we miss sometimes? Because we go through life, we take care of everyone else, ensure that the home is intact, husband is intact, the children are all rearing and ready to go. What is it that we miss along the way?
Okay, thank you, Ria. This topic is dear to my heart. And what we women must remember is that you first have to take care of yourself so that you can take care of the rest of the family. So that when you look at, from my background in nursing, let us go into primary health care. Now, let us remember, healthcare is free. Healthcare is free, Trinidad and Tobago. You must be proud of free healthcare. The health centers are not, well, people who are sick go there. But I want to let you know that when you go to the health center, you can go to the health center when you are well. And that is where we start from. You go to keep track of your numbers. There is where you begin. You know, it's not really for when you are ill that you appear to, at the doctor, hospital, or the health center. You can go and visit the health center, walk in and be attended to by nursing staff and medical staff. So don't miss this opportunity. We all should go to the, or everyone, all women, well, men, go to the health center so that you can trace and they can trace and track you, can pick up when you are ill instead of going when you are ill and trying to, to get well. So there's where I want to jump off this morning.
Now, you mentioned keep track of your numbers. And for those persons who are viewing us for the first time, wondering what numbers are those? What are the numbers that we need to keep track of?
All right. So your blood pressure, you have your pulse rate, even though it may just be, pulse, but pulse rate can give you plenty information. You have your blood sugar levels, you have your HB1AC, your blood for sugar, your testing, right? And many other things. You have your screening that you can do, for mammogram, breast exams, and pap smears. All these things free of charge to the women, or anybody who walk into the health centers.
All right. Now, you said that we need to keep track of ourselves. Yeah. We need to monitor. We need to take care of us first.
Yes.
But why is it that we tend to take care of everyone else, and then we leave ourselves undone? And like I said, I know you would have seen some things over the years, women who would have left themselves undone. I'll go check it. I really noticed this, I suspect, but I'll check it later. And then we wait and we wait until sometimes it's too late.
Yes, Ria, we put off that checking. Now, I remember growing up, I remember my parents used to say, I'm going for a checkup. I don't know if you remember that term, but it's very important that we check ourselves. And as I said, when you check yourself, you pick up on what is happening to you. And before you can attend to others, if you can remember, put this in your head, before you can attend to others, even your husband and children or family, you have to make sure that you are, okay, or you are well. So do not put off checking, even though after you send the children off to school or the health center is open 8 to 4, go and visit the health center so that you can, keep check of yourself.
Now, you mentioned earlier blood pressure. In terms of the numbers, blood pressure, pulse rate, blood sugar, and you listed quite a few. What would you say would be the top three illnesses, diseases as it relates to women?
Yes, to women, you will have high blood pressure, very number one, because of stress. We always, as you said, taking care of everybody, and so high blood pressure, even your blood sugar level, and also we could look at your obesity as obesity as one of the other causes of what we may go through. So you have to look at your diet, and all this information you will get when you go to the health center. They wouldn't leave you without giving you information as how to move forward in taking care of yourself.
Right. Now, you were also at the Esplanade yesterday, and there was a whole, celebration, a lot of information.
Yes.
Tell our viewers, for those persons who missed it, tell us what it was like and some of what it is you spoke on.
Okay, so yesterday we celebrated International Women's Day, and it was celebration was from the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, and also the Tobago Regional Health Authority combined to put on that day yesterday. Now, International Women's Day, we had the theme of embracing equity. And this is so important. When you
I love
embrace
how you do it
yourself,
there, yes.
you hug, you smile. And when you do this, it reverberates all throughout the world, because this is the international sign that we have given
Right.
for International Women's Day. So yesterday I would have shared where we must honor our parents, grandparents, all the women that helped to bring us to where we are today.
Yes.
Because they have worked hard, they have toiled, and we must honor them. Our sisters, our aunts, our whoever there, we are daughters, and so on. Wives, we must honor them for what we do today in operating in our life is due to what they have put in with us in the past.
Most definitely. And again, celebrating women, celebrating women, celebrating women. You can't do it enough. And I like how this year, I mean, International Women's Day takes the focus of mothers. Mother's Day is for mothers,
Yes.
but International Women's Day, whether you're a mother, you're a daughter, you're a sister, a grandmother, an aunt, women, just celebrating women.
Yes, it is. And we also will look at when we are, like from our profession, when you are dealing with women, they are very passionate, especially at the time when they are vulnerable, it's probably illness or so. You have to be careful that you don't treat everybody one way. You have to individualize. They come to you, listen to what they are telling you, and deal with that case as they are individually. So you don't use a broad brush, or they come with a high blood pressure, and that is, no, you listen to what they have to say, and then you individualize your care. This care is for Karen, whatever. This care is for Ria, whatever it is. Even though you all may come with the same problem, say high blood pressure.
Right.
So we must treat each one even, just, and fair. All right? And always remember, we all come with a uneven platform. People come with different experiences.
Yes.
They come with their own, how they think they see it. And all of this you have to use and help to care for them. Do not dismiss anything that they may want to tell you. Always listen to what that person has to say. It's important.
I'm loving what you're saying this morning, because very often, according to you, there is one broad brush: high blood pressure, high blood pressure, high blood.
Yes.
Okay, you on one side, but then the story may be different.
Yes.
Stress may be causing mine.
Yes.
Poor diet, someone else.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, Ria.
So
that is what we are talking about. And then listening behind. Sometimes you listen and you have to think further back. What are they trying to tell you that they're probably not saying to you? So all of this, you're working with them and you're trying to get from them what actually is happening at the time they present themselves.
all right, and it's very important to get that information, so you, according to you, know how to treat, how to administer care, and what type of care to administer to that particular patient. And it's very important, women, to get up and get yourselves checked. Now, I know we're not talking breast cancer, we're talking women's health, but the importance of early detection. In Tobago, we love to blame everything on gas.
Oh, yes.
Okay, in the Caribbean, everything is blamed. So a pain in your head, it's due to gas. A pain in your arm, it's due to gas.
Yes.
Pain in your stomach, pain in your toe, it's all gas related, according to tradition.
And you have to be careful with what they tell you, because they come to you diagnosing what the problem is.
The patient come to the nurses and doctors.
Yes, I have a gas pain. That is how, they come. But
and I feel is this because my father or my mother had this. So I feel is that.
Yes. And I didn't eat all of that they bring to you. I didn't eat, 2 days ago, and I feel is that gone up by my neck. So we have to be careful, listen, and then when you do your examinations and so on, you can advise the patient on the way forward.
Definitely. So listen to what your doctor has to say this morning. And let's talk about the importance of adhering to medication, being able to administer medication. In the Caribbean, there is the perception if you are directed or instructed to take 2 pills per day, we believe that if we take 3, it's going to be even better. If 2 is going to work, 3 is going to work faster and better.
Yes, this is a common problem, but we must stick with the instructions given. Now, if when you are taking the medication, there is a change in whatever is happening to you, the blood pressure, you have to return to the doctor to say what is happening. You don't just stop or increase.
We do that, yes.
Yes, we do that, but it is not wise. Return and say, well, I've been taking the pills just as how you ordered it, and my pressure is still, let him decide, because sometimes you may do a little exercise more than you did, and the signs may not show up as it were, and then you say, I'll stop today. No, your medication is given, take it as prescribed. If there are any changes, you revisit the health center or the medical place and have them sort out what they should do for you.
Definitely stop diagnosing yourselves. Julian Skeet, good morning to you. And Julian is sending a message this morning to you, Mrs. Moore Nicholson. He said, good morning. Please do send greetings to my good friend, Karen Moore Nicholson, always passionate, devoted, and family-oriented. Our friendly healthcare professional. Well done, Miss Karen.
Thank you very much. Just send that a thank you for Julian, please. Mrs. Thank you.
Julian, you got that, you got that. And just to join with some of our viewers on the live this morning, Julia Brown says, Trinbagonians, make use of your free health care. Yes. Folks out here in the U.S. are fighting for health care. Let's get ourselves checked out. We've got Carol Errol Brebner, who says, good morning, everyone. Great job. Keep up the good work. Pearl Duke good morning. I agree, Ms. Nicholson. The healthcare staff needs to listen to the patient's concerns. And Julia Brown says, people cut their pills also to stretch it. Very true.
Very good
very
observation.
True.
Yes,
true.
yes.
Because of economic circumstances, they cannot afford to purchase pills for the month. So to be able, so they cut the pills in half, which is going to weaken the effect,
dosage, of the pill.
And so not treat what it's designed to treat.
It's not wise to do these things on your own. You know, seek the information before you attempt to cut, stop, increase. Seek the information that the doctor will give to you, because you, as I said, you don't know what is causing why it is not moving. You could have been exercising, your diet could have been good, so that he may need to say, all right, you can reduce here now, as the case may be. So you really have to pay attention to your medical.
All right, one topic I think we want to touch on really quickly here is that the issue here of menopause. A lot of people are going through menopause, not realizing that they're going through menopause. What are some of the signs and symptoms of menopause?
Well, menopause is really the closing of your childbearing life that everybody who lives after 45 or what will go through. So, and then what happens, menopause, for everyone is different. There will be different manifestations.
Right.
Okay, so you have that hot flashes, you have feeling, and it's a whole set of disturbances in your system and your body. So hot flashes going to be thing, but then you have other things. You may not suffer some of the things that that menopause show up, and I may suffer. And what a doctor told me is that do not study menopause. Do not think about menopause. No, it can sometimes some people fall down with their, their pressure going low. It's a whole lot of signs and symptoms that you cannot explain. It just happens. So you have to know what is happening to you, and what he said is, do not take on menopause. It has to come. You just go about your daily life, but make sure that you don't suffer the injustice of falling and things like that. So you check regularly, because it's not nice because some people faint and so on. So this is what I will talk about menopause.
There was a time when menopause, the topic of menopause was taboo.
Taboo.
So women talked about it, matured women talked about it in secret. They did not speak openly about it because they didn't want anybody to know that they were going through menopause. It was just not spoken about. But now there's a lot more information out there, and it's important for women to know where they stand. And there's no taboo to it. Embrace it, you know. Yeah, I realized that sometimes from the time you cross into your 40s, you start experiencing some of these symptoms that you spoke of. But it's not to be, it's not a taboo.
It's not, and it's not the end of the book. And then you will cross it eventually, you know, and everything will settle back to normal. So it's just a matter of tolerating what is happening at the time. Make sure it doesn't affect you too much, and then you'll cross the hurdle and move on to your next phase in life.
Most definitely. But again, the importance of getting up and getting to the health center to get checked out. Let them be able to track you, check your numbers, see what's happening in your body, and then you're able to move forward.
Yes, Ria, that is how. And remember, healthcare is free.
Say it again. Say it again.
Healthcare is free.
In Trinidad
and Tobago, you walk into the health center and you get, you know, your treatment that you deserve. And very good treatment. Let me tell you this. Very good treatment.
Very good treatment. We've got to say it. Very much so. All right. We want to thank you for being on the program with us this morning.
Thank you very much, Ria. And let me say a hearty good morning to my team at the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, and even to my former workplace, the Tobago Regional Health Authority, who have molded me into who I am today, over 40 years ago.
Wow.
Yes, I came to Tobago in 1980, and here is where I practice all along.
She's Tobagonian.
Yeah, to the bone.
Yes, Tobagonian. This is our daughter. We claiming her in Tobago.
Yes.
Trinidad, you could borrow her and send her back. All right? Thank you so much. And my good friend Cassandra Hosang says that she can certainly vouch for the healthcare system in Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you so much. A special good morning going out to my Uncle Neil Richardson, who's viewing us on the live. Uncle Neil, good morning. And Uncle Ray and Auntie Liz, good morning. Good morning to you guys. Viewers, lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates morning show. We've got Khadija. Khadija is going to handle this next interview. And she's going to be chatting with Marissa Morris, who is a civil engineer, a managing director of Sustainable Advanced Solutions and Services Limited. So she's going to be talking this morning about digital innovation and technology for gender equality. So lots more coming up on the program. And this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Good morning.
Welcome back to Tobago Updates, where we are celebrating International Women's Week, just on the heels of International Women's Day yesterday. As we continue to celebrate and spotlight entrepreneurs and leaders who are in the field of male-dominated positions, we are pleased to have with us a phenomenal young lady who holds a magnificent position. And I say position and stress on it because, you know, anybody could have a title, right? But at the end of the day, this woman is positioned as a leader who will bring about dynamic change in the field that she's at. So I would like to introduce the marvelous Marissa Morris, who has been a civil engineer for more than 10 years in the construction industry. And she's also the managing director of SAS, Sustainable Advanced Solution and Services Limited. Welcome, Marissa.
Hi, good morning, and thanks for having me.
Yes, you're very welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here at
Yes.
Tobago Updates. Now, Marissa, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into the profession of civil engineering.
Hi, good morning to all viewers. I would describe myself as a outgoing individual who love nature, who love adventures. I love building, art. I would have got into civil engineering because of my love for buildings, especially old age buildings within the island. So I always wanted to find out how to develop, like have an empty piece of property and see this through to the complete structure, creating it. And I was always a problem solver. Growing up, I was always fixing something. If I have like a pen, I would break it apart and try to put it back together and see if it works.
Right.
So I guess there from always trying to solve a issue or problem that led me into civil engineering.
Nice, beautiful, lovely. Now, in keeping with alignment with our topic, digital innovation and technology for gender equality, did you participate in any STEM-based programs in school, in high school?
In high school, at that time in high school, no, we didn't have a lot of any STEM-based being pushed at the time. We just had the basics, say, physics and, well, your TD, technical drawing. I think now they have advanced and they're doing CAD in high school as well. But I had a lot of STEM-based projects in university, in engineering school.
Perfect. All right. And during that time of school to now, have you noticed the growing interest of women in the engineering field? And were there any challenges that you experienced?
I would say I've seen some growth, but it's not as much as I would like to see. There were times that I may have been the only girl or few of, so in a class of, let's say, 10, they may have 2 females. So the challenges that I may have experienced entering into the workforce, a lot of employees didn't think that as a female I am capable of doing certain things that men could do because this is a male-dominated environment. So it's like I had to work harder to prove myself and prove that I am valuable to this organization. But I hope that for 2023 and going forward that we could have a lot more female entering the engineering sector, especially civil engineering. We have female engineering, but we would more find them in chemical engineering and less engineering disciplines because civil, it requires you to go out into the field construction and engage men, because there will have been times where I've worked on project where I'm the only female on the project. So it has been a bit challenging in terms of dealing with what I would say ego during the days. I'll have to prepare my mind to deal with ego of men. And they don't think that I don't understand the construction industry. I'm new to the construction industry. So that has been my challenge thus far. Yes.
And you know, we have to stand up as women and really push
Agree. Yes,
ourselves
yes.
out
And
there.
support one another.
Of course.
Yes.
You know, Marissa, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And that is a quote by the godfather of innovation,
Yes,
Peter
yes.
Drucker. You know, so we have to really get that message out there and put aside ego. Yes. Men have to put aside ego.
It could be a simple conversation, communicate. I had times where in projects I would have a simple conversation, and it's not, they don't understand or they don't do it, and then I'll have to go, what people nowadays say, go into my masculine energy and be that boss and talk to them. So I think we should understand that, yes, it's a male-dominated field, but women are slowly entering this field, and we should be accommodated as well.
Yes, woman is boss, right?
The future is woman.
Of course. So, Marissa, let's dive into equality and equity. Now, equality is where people are given the same resources.
Yes.
But equity, on the other hand, is given resources that actually meet their needs. Now, share with us how you are embracing equity with regards to women in engineering, who you may work alongside, and the mentor-mentee relationship. Is there an opportunity for you to be that mentor to others?
Yes. In terms of equity, I try to be like people-oriented, especially with women, to let them know that, yes, this is engineering. Like I try to be real with them. This is what you're going to experience, but don't let it deter you. We are all people, right? So we have male and we have female, but we are all people. So we should be given chance to prove ourselves and say, okay, you are not better than. We are on the same level. So I think that I have meet out to various women in high school who are thinking about doing engineering, but they had some doubts, and they see me in engineering, and a lot have asked me, like, what do I love about engineering?
Right.
And I always say, do something that you're passionate about. Yes, we want the same pay as men, but don't let the pay be your driving force.
Right.
Yes.
Let the passion be a driving force.
Yes.
And you know,
so to prove to them in the workplace that, yes, I am passionate about what I have. I can meet my deliverables. I could conquer my goals. I could push this organization forward to prove that, yes, this is why I would try to hire another female, because this was the experience I got with this female within the company. Not that, okay, I deserve to be paid like men, but you're not bringing as much as value as men as well. Yes.
Yes. You know, Trinidad and Tobago, this is a powerful young lady we are looking at today. Yes, leadership is not on sale and greatness is not on discount.
Yes.
Yes. So, with regard to the theme for this year's Women's International Day, Embracing Equity, how can civil engineers, or what can civil engineers do to improve and empower the lives of girls and young women out here?
We civil engineers could continue being mentors, continue to go into the school environment, even as young as primary school, because a lot of persons don't understand what civil engineers do. So they think that we build roads. And civil engineer is a wide umbrella, because under civil engineering you could get structural engineer, transport engineering, because we deal with roads, bridges, buildings, dams. So there are various disciplines under civil engineering. So we can go into the field and mentor the young ones as far as primary school, because sometimes they have an idea of what they want to be because they have a model around them. so we could continue coaching them and guide them and let them know, okay, this is what is required to get into the field, and you should be brave to enter it. So I think we should continue doing a lot of mentorship. I hope, or we could see in the future, we could have a lot of STEM projects and activity that students are getting involved in as well.
Yes, Marissa, I agree with that, because you see the real life models, like yourself, like myself, like everyone that we know who are leaders, that women leaders, we need to really go out there and be real life role models for other young girls and women.
Because
it's so important,
because there are simple activities, like you could use rubber bands or like toilet paper roll to create bridges, or you could use macaroni and create bridge, and add load to see whether it's fail, and understand, because sometimes I was having a conversation with a colleague regarding the earthquake that happened in Turkey. And they were asking me about the structures and why so many buildings fail and these different things. So trying to explain it, where if I say there's force in the Y direction, and they may not understand. But when you have like a model and allow the students to, demonstrate and move the structure within various directions, they are better to understand, because a lot of students aren't verbal learners, but they are visual learners. So I think that doing both could help and push young ones into the field a bit more, especially women. So I hope that we can change this and have more girls and young women entering engineering.
Yes. Now, Marissa, one thing that I push in my leadership academy is women in leadership.
Yes.
And we want women to go out there and think. Yes. We don't, when we say think, I mean, people say think outside the box. And in my world, and I believe in your world too, there are no boxes, yes? There are no boxes. Yes. So we have to think as women, because we are on purpose, for a purpose, and with a purpose. So we have to really step out there and be role models for younger girls and women out there.
Yeah.
So ladies and gentlemen, we have it, Marissa Morris, and I want to leave you with a quote from John Maxwell. Good leaders have followers. The best leaders are ones who develop and duplicate other leaders. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome to Limache Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Morning Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates. Real questions and honest conversations with the sole aim of keeping you fully in the know. Full Disclosure with the executive every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Tobago Updates.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. Again, we are focused on International Women's Day. It's all about women this week long, women hosts, women guests. And we are happy to have on set with us this morning Dr. Janelle Chase Mayers, who is the CEO of Re-Engineering Wellbeing Consultancy. And this morning, our focus is on We4 Training Seminar. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
Welcome to Tobago. Welcome to Tobago Updates.
I'm so excited. I've never been to Tobago. I've always been to Trinidad. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm very honored to be here.
I guarantee you that the experience is going to be wonderful. You're going to come back.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
One taste of Tobago and you come back, definitely. All right, so let's talk a little bit. I want you to tell our viewers this morning, tell us about your background. Now, you are the CEO of Re-Engineering Wellbeing Consultancy, but what exactly is your background?
All right, so I have a doctorate in creative systemic studies. I have my master's in marriage and family therapy, and I hold my first degree in psychology. I'm an educator, so I've taught at the University of West Indies for the last 6 years, and I've taught at BCC, Barbados Community College, for about 16 years. And I also have experience working in the rehab facility, drug rehab, for about 13 years. I actually led the first women's rehab in Barbados, Marina House, helped coordinated that as well too. So I know I look young, but I've been around. I've been in this field for about 20 years, and really excited to be in a space now where I can give back, but also provide information that helps people with their mental health and their grief specifically. Yeah.
All right. I guess at the end of the interview, you're going to give us the secret to looking as young as you do, because I'm sure persons are sitting there, pen and paper in hand, waiting for the secret.
It's my mom, her genes.
I can attest to that, definitely. All right. Now, I want to talk a little bit here, because you specialize as well in grief. You mentioned that. What is it that we miss with grief? Are there, because we hear about the the different stages of grief. I see you nodding your head already, the different stages of grief. Is it a myth? Is it real? You tell us this morning.
So that research, actually, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she had research where she was actually researching people who are dying. So these stages of grief are actually for people who are dying, not people who are living. That's why when people experience loss, and grief is just a normal and natural reaction to a loss of any kind. That's all it is. But when people lose a loved one, death of a loved one, we tend to take that particular theory and attach it to us. Unfortunately, not everybody's angry. You know, not everybody's having resentment issues. Not everybody's having acceptance issues. And so when you have a miss of the theory, or the myth of the theory, what that can actually do is put people in a perpetual state of pain. And for a lot of people, they feel a lot of pain because they're like, well, what's wrong with me? Like, there's nothing that says what's wrong with me. So unfortunately, when we hear information, we don't always do our due diligence as to how the information was actually procured.
Right.
Yeah.
We just accept it.
We accept it. And then it doesn't fit, and then we don't challenge what isn't fitting. Sometimes we just accept that particular thing means that there's something wrong with us. You know, something has happened to us and we haven't recovered. Yeah.
All right. Now, we're talking as well about the We4 Training Seminar, grief, growth, and recovery.
Absolutely.
We're talking grief, growth, and recovery.
Yeah.
Recovery from grief.
Yeah. Whew. So let me take a pause there, because grief and loss is the one thing that all of us as human beings will experience. We will lose a tooth. You know, we will get some gray hair. And people don't understand those things are lost. We will lose our mobility if we're not taking care of ourselves. Sometimes we're losing jobs, we're losing locations, and then we're losing loved ones. We're losing relationships. But we're ill-equipped to deal with loss. But it's going to happen to every single human being. And so one of the things that I think that keeps people very stuck is because we're not showing that there's growth after loss. We're not showing that there's recovery after loss. And unfortunately, when we don't show it, we create the reality that this is how it's supposed to be. So you lose a loved one, you're supposed to suffer for the rest of your life. You know, you lose a limb, you're not supposed to learn how to work and walk or use a different part of your body that will actually help support you. And I think it's time that we start to teach people how to grow in their grief and also how to recover and heal, because you don't get over it. My language as a certified grief recovery specialist, that's where the specialty lies, is that you complete your relationship with the hurt and the pain.
I like how you put it.
Yeah.
That you complete your relationship. So it's not just about the grief, but how do I move on from the
Yeah,
grief?
you're
How do I
completing.
live with the grief?
Because that's a cycle, that's a season. Ultimately, your capacity or your ability to manage that and actually say goodbye to what was hurt, pain, and isolation can actually give you an opportunity to recover and to live a full experience and play full out.
Question, is grief different for the person who loses suddenly or loses I don't want to say, well, you see death coming. There's some situations where you see death coming. You look at a scenario and say, this is, I see where this is going, and you can trace it, you can follow it, and you know it's just a matter of time. And then there is the case where you go to bed one night and you wake up and your world has changed. Is it different for the individual, or is it grief across the board?
So allow me to be personal and transparent here. And so I am one of those individuals who lost very suddenly. I was 27 years old. I just had a baby. My son was 4 weeks old. And one day my husband got up early in the morning, had an asthma attack, never recovered, was in a coma for 2 weeks and died. Now, the notion that grief is similar to everybody, that experience of us losing is what is familiar to us, especially if it's a loss of a loved one. So we have over 40 losses. But what makes us very unique in our grief experience is the culture, our relationship to people, how we process it, the skill set. So for other people, it might have been the most devastating thing and their inability to actually function over a period of time. But for me, because I had a skill set already in the mental health field, I knew how to process certain things, and I knew there were certain things that I had to go through that no book could teach me, that no experience of somebody else could share that could change my trajectory. So there are similarities, but there are also unique experiences that we have to honor for people. Because when we honor that, then we give people the grace that is associated with that experience of grief.
Now, we were talking off the air about joy and sadness, sort of coming from the same place.
Yes.
But how do you move forward? How do you celebrate? How do you be joyful? How can you smile again when you've been so hurt, so torn, so broken? How do you move from that place? Is it wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to smile today?
Sometimes it is. Absolutely.
Or is it a process to getting back there?
I think there's a process, but there's also making a decision, because emotions are neither negative or positive. They're just expressions of how we feel and how we could communicate with ourselves, our bodies, and other people. And so somewhere along the line, somebody said, you know, grief is a bad emotion. But sometimes for people who are experiencing watching their loved one, and if we're talking about that particular loss of a loved one, you know, when you see that person lose their battle, but you know that they've gained, you know, their own existence in another space, people are happy, right? So it is also how we express it. Because my capacity to grieve or share with another person is my humanity with people. And so grievers love to talk. We love to share stories with each other, you know, because that says that I'm heard, you're heard. I'm seen, you're seen. So that dichotomy of negative or positive or emotions also stunts our capacity to be human, because as long as we're human, we're going to have a range of expressions. Yeah.
Wow, okay. And I wish I could be a part of this, viewers, because here's what, a lot of great things coming out here from Wave 4. And you tell us about the training seminar and who it caters to.
All right, so I just have to shout out Miss Billy Sterling.
And that's our girl, Billy Sterling Lewis. That's our Tobago girl that we have loaned over to Antigua, is it?
Yes.
Yes, we've loaned her to Antigua. Go ahead.
Right, so Billy has created an excellent program in healing and empowerment, and we're really going to be focusing on how we have conversations about grief and loss, because as I said before, we don't have those conversations. But one of the things that I really want to impress on people is how to become competent grievers. Because it's going to happen to us. You know, when it will happen, it will be is a completely different story.
Competent grievers.
Grievers, yeah. Because we're all ill-equipped to deal with loss because we don't talk about it. So in the seminar, we'll be talking about also national crisis of grief, right? When you think about floods, disasters, murder, suicide, all of those things are grieving experiences. But we expect people every day to get up and walk around as if nothing has happened. And we don't give them the tools. So as a Caribbean, we have to start having those conversations, one, with where we're based first, and then two, how that impacts the way in which we actually relate to each other. Because we live in a very healing space as well, too. We walk out of the studio, we're right on, we see the ocean, right? And we don't tap into those things. So we're going to be also tapping into cultural components of how we grieve, what we were told, because there is a lot of what we were told that is actually incorrect.
As it relates to grief.
As it relates to grief.
Now, in the Caribbean space, we as you said, grief is a part of life, yes. But how we deal with grief, it's not how they deal with grief on the outside, in the outside world. If there is we feel like we need some support, but a support group says that we are having mental health issues, and you don't want anyone to associate what you're feeling with mental health issues, because mental health issues are taboo. It says that you're crazy, and your whole family crazy, and your children gonna be crazy. Billy, you understand? Yeah, Billy's also, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how do you get Caribbean persons to understand that this is okay, this is normal, and it's okay to talk with someone, it's okay to share how you feel, it's okay to get that type of support?
Yeah, so funny enough, this is actually my Re-Engineer Wellbeing Caribbean Mental Health Tour.
Yeah.
So this is my second stint. I did St. Vincent about 2 weeks ago. Tobago is my next step. Where I go next, I'm ready.
Anyone knows.
Anybody who's ready, let me know. But the reality of it is, we have the word mental health wrong, because mental health really just means brain health. How are you taking care of your brain? And
because of how we've used the term over the years. Oh, she's mental. He's mental. He's having mental health issues. You're not too stable.
Yeah, you may be having mental health challenges, which is completely different from mental health hygiene, which is different to mental illness. So most people are having conversations about mental illness as we're having about physical illness. You know, and we have to change that narrative, because their mental health is their ability to psychologically cope with everyday stressors and actually be productive in your community. That's the definition of mental health. So when we're, again, going back to grief, when we
totally out of context.
Yeah. when we have misnomers, then it doesn't add value for people to be human. You know, we dehumanize people's experiences. If you're having challenges with your physical health versus physical illness, we separate those two. And I think it's time that we start giving people the effective language to actually change their narrative in being better stewards of their brain health and better stewards of their relationships, because that's what grief really is.
Yeah.
Our relationship with something that we've lost, an experience that we've lost. And when we can actually have a better understanding of that, we'll have a better strategy of helping ourselves and helping our nations.
All right. So all of this is happening on the 9th and 10th of March,
Today.
which is today and tomorrow.
Yes.
All right, so tell us a little bit more about it and how persons can access it.
Yes, so we're going to be at the Bonacard Multipurpose Center, and anybody who has lost anything in life can benefit from this. This is where I want to start.
Anyone.
Anything, anyone. I think for me, one of the things is asking people to invest in their recovery. Because we invest in so many other things, we have to start investing in our recovery, because when we don't, what's going to end up happening is things like Alzheimer's and dementia and neurological disorders are going to happen more because we have not relieved the stress. So come out to Bonacard Multipurpose Center. We're going to be there from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And can I discuss costs? Because I know it's up there.
Yeah.
Think about the investment of 1,400 TT in relation to you losing your mind. Because sometimes we don't consider that for a second. Like, what will it cost me if I don't do anything? What's my return on investment?
Right.
And I want a lot of people to understand that we have to start investing in our mental health. We have to start investing in our wellness as much as you do. Hair did, nails did, all that's done, brain did. We need to start doing that.
That's right. We focus on the hair, the outfit, making sure your toes on fleek, eyebrows
Absolutely.
on fleek.
Make sure your brain on fleek.
On fleek, that's right. I want to thank you this morning, Dr. Mayers, for being on the program with us. And Sydney Tobago, I want to encourage you to go on now, because she mentioned it. You've lost something, you've lost someone.
Yeah.
You know, this is about supporting through the process.
Absolutely.
All right. Invest in your mental health. Invest in your mental health.
Mental wealth.
And wealth, yes. So Dr. And I almost said Dr. Billy. I don't know, maybe
soon.
Yes. Billy Sterling Lewis, good morning to you, Reverend Nevin Lewis out there in Antigua, and to the whole Lewis clan that we've loaned you over to Antigua, but we're gonna get you back. You belong to us. We say love going out to you guys as well. All right, so thank you again for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, well, viewers, we've got lots more coming up. So Kadisha's gonna be joining me back on set, and so share the live.
October will never be better. With Tobago, carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, and we are saying goodbye to you even at this time. We want to thank all of you for joining us today. Kadisha, how was your morning on set? Not as a guest, but as a co-host.
It was fantastic.
It was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
All right, and I'm happy that it was fantastic. So maybe we'll get you back again another time.
Of course, my pleasure.
Definitely, indeed. I really thank you for taking the time to visit with us. Feel free to come again anytime. Okay?
Yes.
All right, so who would you like to send a shout out to even as we wrap things up here this morning?
I would like to shout out my greatest supporter, my husband, who's on set with me this morning, J. Lamont Harris. Good morning.
Yeah, and let me just let our viewers know that behind the scenes, he was taking photos. He said, I cannot let my wife ask me, did you take any photos? He said, I got to take photos. So he was taking photos of you interviewing. He was taking photos. That's the number one supporter right there.
Number one.
All right. Well, again, thank you for being with us this morning. And again, come again anytime.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right, Tobago, thank you so much for joining us. We've had yet another morning, beautiful morning with you in our company. And we're getting ready to wrap things up. And so we've got GMT coming up with Candice, and her main guest this morning on the show is going to be Councillor Tashia Grace Boris, who is the Secretary for the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation. And she's going to get an update and a recap from ITB out in Berlin. So it's going to be quite an interesting morning. And you know, Candice is a girl. She's had a sugar rush for the morning, so she is ready for you guys. All right, so have a great day, Tobago, and we will see you tomorrow. Be blessed. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Signal Hill Secondary School recently celebrated 46 years of education and excellence. The self-proclaimed beacon on the hill is rightfully excited about its journey, especially the esteemed men and women who have passed through its doors and those waiting to step beyond them with confidence.
It was on the 7th of February 1997 that the people of Tobago welcomed the long-anticipated secondary school, Signal Hill Secondary School that we now call it. At its inception, the school was only designed or purposed to house Form 4, 5, and Form 6 students. However, as years passed, 20 years later, there was a transformation. Originally called Signal Hill Senior Comprehensive School, we were reliably told that the first principal then, Mr. Victor Wheeler, took together with himself a handful of staff members and ushered in the students to this illustrious institution. 20 years later, there was a shift, and in 1997, the school began its transition process to a 7-year school with the inclusion of first to third form. As a result of this change, the name was changed to Signal Hill Secondary School, as you now know it.
Today we are celebrating 46. We are celebrating our rich legacy, and we are anticipating a prosperous future. We would have heard it before. We produce great statesmen and stateswomen, great politicians, great sportsmen and sportswomen, great teachers, great educators, great entrepreneurs. In every sphere of life, in every profession, we can say that there is a past student and alumni of this school who would have excelled. And who would have thought that when this noble institution opened its doors in 1977 with only 120 students and 10 teachers, we would have grown into the Mecca learning institution that we are today. We would have produced great minds.
You can do all things. You can do all things but fail. 'Cause you never lost a battle. No, you never lost a battle. And I know you never will.
as the 7th principal of this school and as the 3rd female principal, I would like to express my impressions and expectations of this school. I highly appreciate the school's great effort and commitment to provide all-round education to students.
At the end of the ceremony, the school paid tribute to its past and present principals.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show. Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candace Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. Police are investigating the discovery of a body along Golden Grove Road in Canaan yesterday. According to police reports, a man was walking along the road when he noticed a body among some bushes. The police were called and the body was taken to the mortuary at the Scarborough General Hospital. The body was that of a man of East Indian descent and bore marks of violence. Police are seeking the public's assistance in identifying the body. Meanwhile, the Scrap Iron Dealers Association complained that Tobago dealers do not have access to a scrapyard and they are disadvantaged under the new legislation. The association's executive visited Tobago yesterday. According to President Alan Ferguson, under the new legislation, scrap metals can only be stored at yards with special licenses, not on private property. However, there are no licensed yards in Tobago, and Ferguson is urging the government to reconsider the legislation. He also requested that the THA meet with the scrap iron dealers and consider providing them with property for storage to be shared among Tobago's dealers. And nationally, a policy to address intimate partner violence was launched by the Ministry of Health on International Women's Day. The policy was created with the help of PAHO and WHO as part of the Spotlight Initiative. The National Clinical and Policy Guidelines on Intimate Partner Violence and Sexual Violence in Trinidad and Tobago aim to eliminate violence against women and girls. Minister of Health Terence Dial Singh stated the guidelines are intended to improve TNT's healthcare providers' ability to respond holistically to survivors' physical, mental, and social needs, as well as to ensure follow-up. And that was in news in 90 seconds. And well, viewers, before we get into our program today, just by way of a reminder, now, if you are a stakeholder for Carnival, especially the Carnival that happened, that we just concluded, you are all invited to a stakeholder consultation at 4:30 p.m. at the Shore Park Cultural Complex, and to give your views. You know, I mean, there was a whole lot that was said in the public space on social media platforms regarding Carnival and just the ideas. Many people throw around ideas as to how to make it better, etc., what worked, what didn't work. But this is your time now to ensure your views and your opinions are heard. So please come out with all, whether it's your criticisms, your solutions, come out and present it all to this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. at Shore Park. So yes, for all you Carnival stakeholders. All right, viewers, we're moving on to our program this morning as we continue to celebrate our women and, just highlight some of the things that are going on, and also to connect with the women who are at the helm of some of the progress that's happening here in Tobago. We are going to be connecting with Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Tasha Burris, who is actually right now at Berlin in Germany for the ITB trade show, where we are trying to improve some of our tourism connections to make our industry better. So a special good morning and welcome to you, Secretary Burris.
Good morning, Candice. And well, it's actually afternoon in Germany, but good morning to yourself and your viewers, everybody tuned in. It's very cold, extremely cold. So that's why I have on my jacket even inside. It's very cold in Berlin.
Well, hopefully you'll be home soon and you can get some good Tobago warm up.
Yes, some Tobago food. That's what I'm missing.
Awesome. Well, you are actually on the last day of the trade show right now at ITB. So first of all, can you give us an idea of just how was the last few days? How did it go? Was it a positive or a negative experience?
Well, I would tell you that Tobago coming back out and being able to showcase at ITB after COVID, I think it's a milestone in and of itself. The fact that we were the last of the blocks in terms of being able to open our international borders to flights and to cruise. ITB is an opportunity for Tobago to place itself front and center in the hearts and minds of the tour operators who are in the German region, the Scandinavian region once again. The last couple of days have been very grueling, I must say, because we actually kind of landed and went straight into conversations the day that we arrived, and the very next day was the first day. We've been having a lot of meetings, even on this last day, where some of the buzz has died down in terms of the back and forth of persons visiting, because most persons visited that first day and yesterday. We are still heavily engaged in discussions with different persons, companies who want to come in and provide different services, tour operators, bloggers, travel guide writers, you name it. All of these persons are part of the tourism ecosystem, and all of them want to collaborate with Tobago once again to be able to place Tobago on the map. I actually just came out of a meeting and forgot completely that I had this interview, because some of the discussions have been very intense, and the intention is post this engagement at ITB, we have a number of actions in terms of follow-up with different persons that we may want to further engage to provide different services through the Tobago Tourism Agency and through the Tobago House of Assembly. But I must say it has been a very rewarding experience, certainly very eye-opening in terms of some of the feedback that we have gotten from our tour operators in the German space and the things that we can do to help us improve our product post-COVID.
Now, has there been any concrete partnerships, arrangements, anything that is like finalized, that was finalized, that would help improve our product here in Tobago?
Okay, so in terms of finalization, you don't have a lot of finalization taking place at the ITB. These are actually first stage talks in most instances, or continuation of conversations that started in Tobago and are continuing in person. So that's why all the follow-up actions are very critical, because we have actually begun to earmark out of the conversations that we have had some more that we're going to pursue that would lead to some final decisions being taken to go forward. So those conversations, again, span different areas, things like airlift, providing consultancy services, digitalization, introducing Tobago on different platforms utilized by more tour operators, getting us back into travel guides and encouraging travel guide writers and magazine writers to now come and visit Tobago and create content on Tobago that they will now distribute through their channels as well. So ITB is really the marketplace or the meeting place for all of those discussions to begin and take place. So that part of what we have to build out now is a strategy for the German market. So now that we recognize where Tobago fits in the grand scheme of things and how the German market sees us, we are now able to craft our marketing strategy for the German market. And we can now understand the sectors that we have to target. We now have to understand the places that Tobago has to show up, whether with respect to our digital content or where we may have to show up physically, because the conversations are not just taking place online, but some of these, we have a culture, there's a culture in Germany where in certain regions, they still continue the heavy usage of travel agents. So persons will go to travel agencies and book their travel. Whereas during COVID, a lot of the travel agencies in the rest of the world closed down because a lot of persons started to do their business online and started to book vacations online. We have discovered that in Germany, people still use travel agencies. So it would mean that Tobago now has to reestablish its presence in terms of retraining these travel agents to now sell Tobago as a destination, retraining to operators, and basically updating them on what has been taking place in terms of improvements to our infrastructure, additional products that have come on stream, additional hotel operations that have started since COVID and what plans are in train. So that crafting of that German strategy will now take place post ITB for us to now launch out in a huge way in time for some actions that have to happen during winter of this year, because that's peak travel period for the German market, winter of this year and into summer and winter of next year.
Now, is there anything from your conversations throughout the last few days that came out to you, or anything that stood out to you that perhaps Tobago needs to do differently? Anything that needs to change about the product that we offer to German visitors?
Right. So one thing I discovered in conversation with one of business partners yesterday is that Germans really love their breakfast. What we've discovered in Tobago, or what takes place in Tobago, is that we have a lot of accommodation providers who do not provide breakfast. So that if you're targeting the German market, that's one of the things that they distinctly look for. They want to book properties that have that breakfast included as part of the package. I mean, Germans, they said, wants to get out and see the culture, to immerse themselves in a destination. So they don't need an all-inclusive. So they don't need you to provide lunch, they don't need you to provide dinner, because they'll go out and spend their money, they go to restaurants and that kind of thing. But they're really very, very, very serious about their breakfast. So that's one of the things that persons who are in the accommodation sector, if you want to attract German tourists in particular, then your packages have to include breakfast, because that is what they would look for first and foremost. It's surprisingly, in all of the conversations that I've had, nobody mentioned that one of the challenges that they face in Tobago is customer service, and I'm heartened that I've not heard that as one of the challenges coming out. So it means that something is happening right in terms of us getting that interaction between guests and whoever's working in the sectors, wherever that touch point is, whether it be the hotel, the airport, a reef tour, the restaurant, the bar, the taxi driver. Generally, what Germans have been saying is that Tobagonians are very friendly, they're very warm. You know, when they come to the island, they feel welcome, they feel safe, they feel taken care of. So I'm happy to hear that. And, you know, even tourists from Sweden and the Scandinavian region have said that they have very fond memories of Tobago. And I think that is something that we have to begin to play on in a very real way in terms of our marketing. We have to remind them of why they fell in love in Tobago in the first place. And once we are able to fix the situation with respect to how do they get here, because that has been a huge challenge in terms of airlift, we are now getting a deeper understanding of what is taking place in the world with respect to the management of the airline industry, and why we may continue to have challenges in the short to medium term. But we are working seriously, I think, to see if we can solve some of those challenges, whether it be to get direct airlift in, whether it is we're working with other airline partners like Caribbean Airlines to see how we can provide that connectivity between the different hubs in the region to Tobago. But one of the things that our stakeholders have to take note of is the different nuances between visitors. So UK visitors really like nature, and they like anything close to the natural elements that a country has to offer. German tourists, they love their breakfast, they like to get out, they like to experience culture themselves. The Swedish tourists, they're not into big hotels apparently. They're into more intimate accommodations, Airbnbs, bed and breakfast type accommodations, small guest houses, and they are largely loners. They will go hiking, they will go on a beach and sit down. So they don't need that whole all-inclusive type model. The beauty is that Tobago, I think, really sells or lends itself well as a destination to these types of tourists who are not looking for mass market, because we are displaying among some of the giants in the region. Right next door to us is the Dominican Republic, and they have this whole liquid crystal display built out in their booth, where you actually see these images of the beautiful white sand beaches and the big hotels. A little way away from us is Sandals, Jamaica was co-branded with Sandals. And a lot of the destinations are selling their mass market tourism product. But what Tobago has is this very niche, very concentrated, very authentic, very particular type of product that will attract a particular type of tourist. And I think that is one of the ways that we can continue to differentiate ourselves. And we always have to maintain those quality service standards. We always have to maintain that authentic touch as Tobagonians, which we have become known for, and which the German and Swedish tourists have really appreciated over the years, having visited the destination. And, one of the things that has to happen, certainly from the stakeholder end, is to close the business, because the government is doing its part, the tourism agency is doing its part in terms of coming out and selling Tobago as a destination. We're trying very hard to solve some of the challenges to get people into the island. But these tour operators operate in a global business sense where, it's not a cash system. So I think at the local level, people are used to a cash system where people come to the establishment, pay to stay, and, then they leave and you collect your money immediately at the counter. These tour operators sell packages and they collect all the money for the package that they sell, and then they send you your money within a 30-day or a 60-day period. And a lot of accommodation providers don't want to come on board to sign contracts with our tour operators because they still operate in that cash system. And in order for Tobago to compete, we have to, yes, keep our local things that are working for us, but we also have to act global and to understand that this is how the rest of the world works. There are some businesses that will still have to operate in the cash system, and that's fine. But if we want to get the bulk of the tourist dollars and the bulk of the forest coming in, and the bulk of the tourists who know to book through travel agencies, and they buy their packages that way, then it means that we will have to kind of evolve our business models to be able to come in line with what are global standards currently.
Ms. Barris, I want to also tackle just as the issue that came about. This is in regards to the contingent that's there with you at ITB. And for the listening public, they are wondering, what qualifies somebody to be part of the contingent, whether they pay their way, whether they not pay their way. I just want to clear that issue up.
Okay, so the contingent is made up of government officials, so officials from the Tobago House of Assembly, officials from the Communications Department, Office of the Chief Secretary, people who work at TTAL, so we have the executive chairman here, and one member of staff from TTAL. We have our overseas rep in Germany as well, who is part of TTAL. And then we have our stakeholders who pay their costs to come and be at ITB. So we have stakeholders from the hotel sector, from the tour operators sector. For example, we have Mount Irving Bay Hotel here, we have Tropicus here, we have Comfort Suites here, we have Ted Greg from Ted Greg Tours. So these persons, these stakeholders, the opportunity is given to them to come and display at the booth at ITB that we pay for, because the booth is co-branded this year with Tourism Trinidad Limited. However, Tourism Trinidad could not send anybody physically to the booth. So it's all Tobago this year. And these two stakeholders, they say, yes, we want to be part of the ITB delegation, and they pay their costs to come.
Now, in terms of people, because there was that issue of, one person helping out at a booth. at the Tobago booth. Can you? I don't know if you could bring some clarity on that, because there's a whole
Well,
lot of
I'm not sure what
conversation
you're
in the
talking
space.
about, so you'll have to give
Okay,
me some
so the
information on
daughter
that.
of Miss Alicia Edwards was there at the booth, and there was an issue because people thought that, you know, there was some sort of nepotism there, and what qualified her to
Oh
be
no,
there.
no, no. No. I mean, the thing is that I mean, I saw her, so I guess she's physically in Germany, certainly. And if she's physically here, she's welcome to visit the booth, just like anybody else. We've had visits from persons who are from Tobago and they're living here and they happen to be in the area. They drop by. So nothing is wrong with that. I mean, anybody who's from Tobago has a love for Tobago can come and visit, just like how we have 1,000 other booths. We have over 5,000 exhibitors at ITB, and where we are is in the Caribbean Hall. And my understanding is just that the young lady is here with her mother and on her own private business, and she dropped by, and I don't think there's any issue with that. Certainly, I think that the opportunity should be available once people can get to see things like this, because it's important, I think, for the average person to be able to understand that tourism is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And the trade shows like ITB are very, very important. And I think that people will now understand how important the tourism sector is if they get to come and see things like ITB and get to come and see what the rest of the world is doing with respect to their tourism sector. And maybe the conversation should not necessarily be about how that person got to come, but how maybe we as a THA or maybe as a tourism agency can open up the opportunity to maybe the average person to maybe win a trip and come and be part of the delegation and see how Tobago exhibits and see what Tobago offers to the rest of the world and see what the rest of the world is offering, so that they understand how stiff the competition is and why Tobago really has to make some serious investment in its tourism product.
All right, Secretary Boris, as we're getting ready to wrap up this conversation, and as you are also getting ready to close things off there at ITB and head home, what is one thing that you want to leave Tobagonians with from your mission out there in Germany?
I want us to stop seeing tourism as a fly-by-night kind of industry. I want us to see it as a golden opportunity for us to become business owners, to become entrepreneurs, that there are gamut of opportunities and jobs available in the sector, not just thinking about it as hotel work, as being a bartender, housekeeper, front desk staff. But I've met vloggers, I've met travel guide writers, I've met marketing people, I've met tour guides, people who operate tour agencies, I've seen digital content creators, people who have built apps, people who are, you know, performers, entertainers, creatives, you name it. The tourism sector employs a wide range of persons. And I mean, one of the biggest challenges we have in Tobago, I think, is the unemployment issue and people finding sustainable employment. And I'm saying that right now the tourism sector in Tobago is suffering for skilled and competent employees, and it's a sector that really is very rewarding. If you love to meet people, if you love to interact with persons, if you love to travel, the tourism sector presents all of those opportunities for you. And I think that one of the things that has to happen when we certainly come back is to have those conversations with persons, how they can get into the sector in a real way, how they could contribute, build out our sector so that Tobago can now generate some real revenue from our tourism industry.
All right, well, thank you so much, Ms. Boris, and we are certainly looking forward to seeing what comes out of ITB and the connection, the partnerships, the wins for Tobago that's going to be revealed later on as you guys continue your work out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day. One of the things I'll say, the hardest thing about being out there is that I have 2 work days now. So when it's nighttime here, it's daytime there. So I'm still working. So, but I'm anxious to come back home. I certainly, I think it has been a very rewarding experience for the Tobago delegation. We have made some very important connections, and we want to see how we could cement some of those partnerships going forward to the benefit of Tobago on our whole. So thank you so much.
We certainly appreciate it. All right, well, viewers, I had the Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Ms. Tashia Boris. So we have a lot more coming up for you on the program, so you don't want to go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
We are ready for departure. He can help us by again ensuring your seatbelt fastened, seat back and chair to your board stowed, and then I'll show you how to fly. Okay?
It's been very, very busy. We have only just now stopped. It's very good. The excitement is there. Things are coming back. It's great after COVID to be at ITB and to see the positivity that's around this hall.
Those meetings are going well. The German market has held space for us. All our partners are happy to see us back, and they're really excited that we're here with full force with our beautiful stand co-branded with Trinidad, doing what we have to do and bringing and sharing the warmth of the Caribbean with the world.
Tobago can cater for a lot of the trends and also the requests that German customers have, especially now after COVID, you know. They look for privacy, it's there. They look for serene, untouched landscape and, you know, authentic culture. This is exactly what the island can offer.
It's a very nice, remote, secluded location that not everybody has heard of. So if they travel there, they can tell their friends that they have been to a place not everybody has been to yet.
You have contracts you've had before, people who you've known. Look, after COVID, there are many, many hotels that didn't come back on the, they are not operating. And these people, they need to know that you're refurbished, you're looking good, and in order to do something for the future, if you're not here today, like I said, they'll forget you. So we need to be here, and we need to continue to come back, and so they get to know us.
I think it's just a matter of being here, having a presence here so that we can re-establish the connectivity with our existing tour operators. It's more like a PR for us at the moment, and therefore it is important that we attend shows such as this again after being away for quite some time.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice car get damaged bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard, I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard, I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks a favor to wake up and hear me near.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Well, viewers, we are sort of deviating from an all week of women, and we're welcoming a man on set with us this morning. We have Mr. Craig Forbes Warner, and he is from the Department of Advanced Training and Advisory Services, from the Division of Education, Research and Technology, And he is here to talk about some of the opportunities that is available for persons, you know, studying and so on here in Tobago. So good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning and thank you for having us. I'm fine, thanks.
Great. Now, first of all, to give me an idea of what does your department, what are the services that your department offer to the public?
Well, as you rightly said, the department is within the Division of Education, Research and Technology. We provide financial assistance to persons who decide to pursue tertiary education or who are pursuing tertiary education. We also provide persons and advisory service to persons who require that type of advice, both financial as well as career guidance. And we try to also provide persons with placement for those persons who would have actually received the funding from us. We try to place them in, facilitate their placement in jobs.
Mm-hmm. How easy it is to access some of these services?
It's pretty easy. The important thing about it is that the person must have applied to an institution of study. Mm-hmm. That institution must be accredited as well as the program that they're pursuing must be accredited. If those things aren't available, the expectation is that we wouldn't facilitate the person's thing. And there's a reason behind the expectation. So once the person would have applied to the institution of study, then they can apply to us for financial assistance.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter whether the institution is local or international? It
doesn't matter. The idea is that we want to see that the person, whoever the person is and whatever the person, what the institution is, the important thing is that the institution is accredited and the program is accredited. But much more than that, that the person is also pursuing something that would be of benefit to Tobago and in Trinidad and Tobago for that matter.
What about in terms of the assistance offered? What kind of assistance are we talking about?
The assistance ranges. For instance, an assistance can be provided for tuition expenses. Mm-hmm. It may apply for your living expenses, which may be accommodation, your meals, transportation. Transportation would be a part of your living expenses, and a number of other things, books and so forth. So it's a wide range of things that you may get assistance to cover in terms of your expenses.
And then what would determine what sort of assistance you get?
Well, the THA determines what assistance you will get. Mm-hmm. You applied, you will indicate what you're required for, and in some instances, you're looking at what your expenses would have been, mm-hmm. and what you're looking for the THAs to provide you with assistance with. And the THA would go through your application via a training awards committee that would make the recommendation to the Executive Council of the Tobago Assembly, and hopefully from that means you'll get through with the assistance.
Now, does the person always have to apply? Does it have to be like at the start of the program, or could it be like their pathway through the program and maybe they realize that they need some assistance to continue? Can they still go to you guys?
Yes, they can. It doesn't only mean if the person would have now started that they can apply for financial assistance. They can apply when they are in the program of study, mm-hmm. and they can apply before they start the program of study. But the important thing is that they would have applied, they would have gained acceptance, and once they require the necessary assistance, they require that they in a need for the assistance, they can apply for the assistance from us.
Now, there are two types of grants or facilities. There's the grants and then there's the bursary. Mm-hmm. Can you explain them both and what's the difference between them?
Right. Bursaries are usually of a duration of a longer period, say mm-hmm. a year and more. And the requirement for the person is much more than, say, $10,000. Whereas a grant is for a short-term program that is a year and less, and the maximum award under that is $10,000. For instance, if someone is, say, for instance, doing a master's degree and they are doing some research, and they have been tapped out, so to speak, in terms of what they require, in terms mm-hmm. of the funding, and they need to do the research, then they can apply to us for financial assistance to help them through via the grant, to help them through with that process, especially if the funding that they require is less than $10,000 and less.
And is there any limit to how many people that the division can help?
Well, all things will depend on your availability of funding and so forth. But once the person is require the assistance, they can submit an application to us.
All right. And then what in terms of, just payback, like is it any loan facilities? Is there any sort of a commitment that the student has to make towards working for the THA for a certain amount of time after they finish their study? What are the stipulations like?
Okay.
for accepting the grants or the bursaries.
Right. Well, the grant in itself doesn't require you to so much work for the Tobago Assembly, but it's one requirement is that you have completed the program of study, that we require that you complete the program of study, and two, that you can provide some service to Tobago at the end of the day. Whereas the bursary, you have a commitment to Tobago via a period of obligation that you have to serve Tobago, for that matter. If you decide that you're not going to serve, then you are required to repay the funds, which attracts an interest towards it. So that is the barrier or the difference between both of them in terms of giving you that.
Okay. And what's the process like to apply? Like so someone's listening to this interview and they're getting prepared, but they don't know how they're going to get the funding. You know, what is the process like?
Okay. Currently, our applications are done online, and you can go to the division's website, and you can be able to download the application form and get the necessary information from there. As I said, the first part of your thing is that you would have applied to an institution of study, you have gained acceptance into the institution of study as well as into the program of study, and then you can apply to us. As I also indicated, one of the important things that we look for is the accreditation of the institution and the program. We also look for whether you tell us exactly what you're asking us for, and then you go through the process of that. So all of that is online, and you can be able to get the necessary information while you visit our website.
And is there any specialty scholarships that are being offered at this point in time for students?
Currently, they are in discussions on that, and as soon as that has finalized, we will advertise that to the general public, so that persons could participate in that program of study.
And what are some of the words of advice that you want to offer to students that are that are looking towards, you know, applying and that sort of thing?
I would say to that individual, apply. Once you would have met the necessary requirements for application, you can simply apply. If you have some concerns or anything like that, we are there available for you to contact us, and we will be able to help you through the process.
And then when it comes to gate funding as well, would that complicate the process? Could a person apply for gate funding and still access some help from the division?
Yes, persons who would have applied for gate and gain acceptance for gate, as well as apply for us for financial assistance. And if you note what gate covers, gate in some respect would not cover a person's total expenses,
right?
Because it just simply covers the person's tuition expenses, and therefore the persons may still would be in some need for assistance in other areas, for instance, the accommodation, the meals, the transportation, whatever the case may be. So yes, a person can still apply even though they would have applied and gotten gate assistance.
And then in terms of, you know, students that are traveling, that have to journey to Trinidad weekly, because we have a lot of students that you know, have to go over for classes and that sort of thing, that cost can be covered through your department.
Yes, they can apply to us for assistance to cover the transportation to Trinidad via the grant program, or they can apply to the bursary program, but it all depends on what your requirements are.
All right, and you know, I think we've covered pretty much everything. I don't know if I've left anything out of you know, some of the things that the public needs to know about your department.
Well, apart from the fact that we provide bursaries and grants, we also do scholarships, as you indicated a short while ago. We have two forms of scholarship. We have a scholarship that is based on A-level CAPE, that is, and that is more merit-based scholarship based on the person's performance. And basically, that should cover whole of what the department does, as well as we do go out to the public, encouraging them to think about tertiary education. And if they are thinking about it, the fact that they need to start putting aside, especially parents, start doing the necessary saving and investing for education, because it's an expensive journey.
It is.
And therefore, if you are doing that, THA would be able to only assist you with so much. And therefore, you still have to find the necessary wherewithal to be able to help you through your program of study.
And is there any age limit?
There would be age limits to everything. Currently, the age limit may be, we try our best to see how, because if you're looking for funding to pursue a particular program of study, and we want you to provide service to us in terms of for the Tobago Assembly and then perhaps Tobago in general, there may be an age limit. That will be determined by the Tobago Assembly in terms of what they're going to do in terms of funding a person who's at a certain age.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on with us and for sharing that information. But before we go, again, just let the just share the information about how people can get connected with the department to get that assistance.
Sure. persons can connect us via the Tobago Assembly website, icha.diet. I'm always remembering dirt. DIE, the former name that is. But it is dert.gov.tt. They can contact us via that website. They can also contact us via the division's head office, and they can contact us via telephone at 2990781.
All right, great. All right, well, I guess that's it. Thank you so much for being on with us and for sharing with us information. I don't know, you want to say something else?
Not necessarily. Just basically shout out to the staff of Datas, the female staff of Datas, as well as the whole division of education in terms of International Women's Day and celebration.
All right, thank you so much. Well, we've got a lot more coming up for you after the break, so please don't go anywhere.
Passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones.
Welcome to Lamarche Parfait Day Spa and Wellness Center, your premier spa experience located at Bonaccord, Tobago. Visit us today for facials, cellulite treatments, body contours, body treatments, pedicures, manicures, and much more. We have gift cards for all occasions and corporate events. Connect with us on Facebook at Lamarche Parfait Day Spa or call us 273-7772.
Never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry, if your nice car get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement, and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawn.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Well, viewers, we had a wonderful show this morning. A lot of good information coming at you. I want to very much remind you of a special stakeholder symposium that's happening this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. at the Shore Park Cultural Complex, and that is regarding Carnival. So the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited is inviting all Carnival stakeholders to a consultation this afternoon. I mean, it is extremely important that if you have any opinion, any part of Carnival 2023, which just concluded a couple weeks ago, you need to be here. And I know many of you have a lot of things to say about Carnival. This is the place to say it. And this is the chance to, give the decision makers the opportunity to take your suggestions and your concerns on board and then see how we can improve our Carnival product, because certainly there were issues that came out of the Carnival that we just had, and there's some things that could be changed, there's some things that could be improved, and I know many of you all have those suggestions, so you need to come out this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. at the Shore Park Complex. So come out and give your views. And well, viewers, yes, we are continuing to celebrate women this week. We have a very special guest on for GMT in the morning. I'm not going to give away the surprise yet. So I wouldn't be in here tomorrow morning, but you will be in very, very good hands. I promise you that you'll be in very good hands as we continue to celebrate women. Of course, we had International Women's Day taking place yesterday, and it's been a lot of activities happening yesterday. We also had the assembly meet. But it was the assembly meeting with a difference. It was led by Ms. Onika Maz, who, brought forth a motion, involving more women in digital technology. Because, of course, one of the theme for this year's International Women's Day is that of digital for all, equity, in terms of the way that women are incorporated into technology and that digital world. And there was a whole lot of views that was put forward by those women that presented in the House. And of course, it was presided over by our dear presiding officer, Miss Abby Taylor. Special good morning to you, Miss Abby Taylor. Hope you're fine. So viewers, yeah, you have a lot to look forward to. I mean, if you missed any of these things, like I said, there's quite a lot happening. You can always check the Tobago Updates Facebook page as well as our YouTube page. And of course, I want to give a special welcome, good morning, to those folks that are logged on our YouTube page. We really, really appreciate you, as well as those logged on M&E TV and Gael. Thank you for joining us faithfully every morning, even though we might not be seeing exactly who you are. Some of you like to stay in the background, those platforms where you're not identified, but that's okay. We're so glad for your support and so glad that, you are viewing. I mean, it's wonderful always to encounter you on the streets or wherever that we are. So thank you again for your support. Well, viewers, that's how we're going to wrap up the show this morning. So please have a safe and wonderful day. I won't be with you tomorrow, but I promise you something wonderful is going to be happening tomorrow. And I'll be back with you on Tuesday. So take care and bye for now.